Okay, so my name is William. Okay, today's video is called Okay. Well, I don't have Excel open right now, so let me open Excel for a minute. Okay, guys, I have to go. So this was called a Civic Creation, but I have to do something right now, guys. So I'll bring it back. Okay, so guys, hello, so my name is William. Okay, today's video is called So Back Now. Today's video is called What is Possible About Creation? So that's today's video. But before we can talk about that, though, someone asked me, can I be a guest on your podcast? Well, first of all, I don't know how to do that. Okay? Well, first of all, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to put other people on my podcast. I don't know how to do that. So, look, if you're getting bored of seeing only me in my podcast, in my podcasts, well, I don't know. I'm afraid you have to face it that way because I don't know how to get other people to my podcast. I only know how to put me, and that's it. I'm using a free screen recorder, okay? And that's all I'm using. But I don't know what to use to put other people on my podcast. If you know how, let me know, okay? But I'm not going to do it right now. But I'm not going to put other people on my podcast right now because I don't know how to do that, okay? Because I don't know how to do that. I don't. I just don't know how to do it, okay? But right now, and if you're just getting bored of seeing only me, well, I'm afraid you have to face it that way. It's okay though. Now, so creation. We need to talk about this. Well, both the Bible and evolution have its own creation story, you know. So here's the evolution's creation story. It got its the Big Bang about 15 billion years ago, and the stars evolved about 10 billion years ago, and the sun formed about 5 billion years ago, and then the Earth made out of hot molten rock about 4.5 billion years ago, and the ocean first appeared about 3.8 billion years ago. Okay, and here's the Bible's creation story. Okay, now I want to show you. So water covered the earth on days 1 and 2, but that's fine. So we have to learn what happened during day 1. Well, I don't think God created the sky yet on day 1. Okay, I think God created the third heaven and the earth on day 1, and then I believe that God created the sky on day 2. Yes, because on day 2 is when God created the firmament. and all which we call the atmosphere. So that means that God must have created the sky on day 2, and God created the dry land and plants on day 3, and then God created the sun and moon and stars and galaxies. So it means that God created the universe on day 4, and then He created the sea and flying creatures, which will be the sea animals and so it's the sea creatures and the flying creatures, right? He also created bugs on day 5. So, and on day 6, He created land animals and man, which include dinosaurs. You know, and people used to call them dragons back then. So we have to learn some here. I know, and plus I already know that the modern versions will say the word, will replace the word heaven, and make it plural and say heavens instead of the word heaven. Well, why does the King James? So we have to learn something here. I believe that God created the third heaven and the earth on day 1, and then God created the sky on day 2, and then God created the universe on day 4. So yes, the third heaven was created first, and then the first heaven was created second, and then the second heaven was created third. So God created the third heaven on day 1, and then God created the first heaven on day 2, and then God created the second heaven on day 4. Okay? So that will make the difference right there. Which means, means the earth is about 3 days older than the universe, according to the Bible. Now, I know, and people are going to say according to, first of all, you're wrong, okay? First of all, the Bible is reality, okay? Not evolution, okay? I'm not gonna, I don't care, I don't care I'm not gonna care what evolution teaches anyway. It's false and it sends people to hell. Okay? I don't care what your evolution theory teaches. No, because it sends people to hell. Okay? You know, when God created everything, I know people want to say according to reality, humans and animals have vestigial body parts or something, but that's not, well, according to the Bible, well, that's according to evolution, first of all. According to the Bible, they don't. God created everything perfect. And now, and it's the Bible that's reality, not evolution. And I know, that guy just called me and told me about that anyway. If I just call him, the Bible is reality, not evolution, is what I told him anyway. And I call him stupid, and I call him a stupid, damned, hellbound fool because I don't want to, because I didn't want to talk to him anyway. If you want to deny, the Bible and go away, leave me alone. Because I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anything about evolution. I'm just, because it's wrong. Because it sends people to hell. That's why. It's just a stupid thing to believe. Just all because you want to reject Jesus Christ. All because you want to reject Jesus Christ. That's. Okay, I don't try to make this thing here, but you look. Now look. This is what, well, I guess you can say this. This is what a Chinese flag would look like if it was, blue instead of, red. But, yeah, I got this off the internet too, so you can see what happened if the Chinese flag was, blue, instead of, red. So, anyway, I live in the United States of America, but I'm just showing you, what this will look like, so. I'll get to, I think atheists, deserve this flag, but for creation, the blue Chinese flag is probably, that's what can. As well give the Bible believing Christians anyway, because this is because, well, blue is the opposite of red anyway, and I like it, yeah, and blue does not have anything have to do with hell. Red does, so that's why. Anyway, I live in the United States of America, and that is the best country for me to live in anyway. But what did God create? Now, so God created everything in 6 literal days. God rested on the 7th day, and that's how He made a 7-day week. And I think that and then we got the pre-flood, so that's how God created everything, and that's when then we got the pre-flood world. The global flood. When did God create everything? I don't know. I'm guessing that God created everything about 5,000 years ago. Sorry. 7,000 years ago. 7,000 years ago. Yes. I believe that the creation is in the year of, I'm guessing 5,000 BC, because I don't know. I'm just guessing 5,000 BC. I know most creation places are saying 4,000 BC and say it's 6,000 years old, but that's probably not accurate at all. So I'm going to say it's about 7,000 years old, and it's about 5,000 BC. Because we got the Chinese calendar started at 2637 BC, which I believe is supposed to be before I believe it's supposed to be after the flood, not before. Because I believe if the Chinese calendar started at 2737 BC, which I think is after, and I think it's supposed to be after the global flood. Because I believe that the country we know of as China, I believe it got started after the Tower of Babel. That's what I believe. My home country, United States of America, is made in 1776. So, Now, 5,000, the Earth being 7,000 years old, right? That is a long time. But people want to say it's short. Well, that's not short. That is a long time. I would say that is old. But, billions of years That's not old, okay? That would be like giga old. And you don't need that old anyway, so. So was more person verse in the Bible? Yeah, we can read from Exodus and Genesis. But the first was the foundation verse of the Bible. So the book of Genesis, the Bible is a foundational book. It's obvious the first 11 chapters of Genesis, which deal on to the nation verse in Genesis. Next, we have visits of the nation Israel. The same token, the chapter 1 of Genesis, found in the first 11 chapters, the creation world. Finally, chapter 1, verse 1, the verse of the chapter speaking of the primeval creation, the new verse itself, the foundation of thus, and simple words the Bible contains, first words have been said, opening statement, the first often printed book. These words have mostly created most of the Western cultures. You started to read the Bible, and therefore most people have the least opening words in the Bible, even if they never get any further. It has been often pointed out that really believes in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. You will not find it difficult to believe anything else recorded in the Bible. That is, if God really created all things and he controls all things and can do all things. Furthermore, this refutes all the man's false philosophies concerning the original meaning of the word. Number 1, it refutes atheism because the universe was created by God. Number 2, it refutes pantheism, the belief that God is everything and everything is God, for that God is transcendent, apart, independent, and material universe that He created. Number 3, it refutes polytheism. For 1, God created all things. For 4, it refutes materialism, for matter had a beginning. For 5, it refutes dualism, because God was alone when he created. Number 6, it refutes humanism, because God, not man, is the ultimate reality. Number 7, it refutes evolutionism, because God created all things. Actually, all these false philosophies are really different ways between the same belief. Each one proposes no personal transition in God and the ultimate reality, and is found in the eternal cosmos itself. The development of the universe and the presence of constituents solely of the inanimate properties was each essence of the philosophies raised as well as others. Dualism, for example, is the similarity of Roman polytheism, which is a popular expression of pantheism, and in addition to materialism, brings the terms of evolutionism, and defines the consummation and humanism, and the colonnades of atheism. Opposes the great truth. The entire system, which we call the atheistic evolutionary humanism, of philosophical ideas could also be incorporated in the same monstrous structure: naturalism, universalitarianism, deism, agnosticism, monism, determinism, pragmatism, and others. All this are in opposition to the great truth, marvelously simple, assembled by a child, and so profound that in the beginning God created heaven and the earth. It is remarkable when you have then been so many anti-theistic philosophies, ancient and modern, affecting untold millions of people, that the book of God, which we know is the Bible, makes no attempt to prove that God exists. The opening verse of Genesis, so it takes the fact granted, though it has no obvious, only a fool could say there is no God. That's Psalm 14, verse 1. This is a fact, not obvious. However, you see no light of contrary fact that is only in the Bible such revelation appear, as all ancient religious books religious systems, as well as modern philosophies begin, and not with God, but with pre-existing matter energy in some form, and the primeval chaos of water or fire or whatever, and the forces of nature, or the gods or goddesses personifying them, they began to bring the cosmic changes to develop the world into its present form. And despite the evolutionary, despite the universal prevalence of the pantheistic evolutionary cosmologies, cosmogonies among the nations antiquity, and as far as account in Genesis does not attempt to refute them, the existence of one true God, and the reason of the strength, science most likely of a Genesis account, was many of these other systems developed. And the other was to develop the purpose of originally the philosophy of God himself, the generations of heavens and the earth, chapter 2, verse 4. Soon after creation, ascending the before the simple nature forms actual events of creation week, the point in time there's no need to argue about the reality in creation since no one doubted it. It's virtually a point that if ever fully understand anything in the Bible or in the world in general. The first understanding of Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, consider for the words in its all important declaration. God is the occurrence divine of the Hebrew Elohim. The name of God asserts the majesty and omnipotence. This is the name that is throughout the first chapter of Genesis. And the Im is the Hebrew plural ending, so that Elohim can be actually mean gods, and the translated at the various gods either, for example, Psalm 96 verse 5. However, this uses a singular name as God, the Creator, and it was more than 2,000 times used this way. Thus, Elohim is a plural name, circling plural noun, suggesting a plurality of the Godhead. God is one, yet more than one. Create is the remarkable word. But is always used only in of the work of God. Only God create. That is call into existence, which is no existence. And God called these things not only were. 1 4 verse 17, which were framed by the word of God, but these things are seen, but not the things which do appear. 11 verse 3. So yeah, unique work of God. Men can make things or form things, but they cannot create things. God also can make things and form things. He put and yes here recycling, and you do so or do more effectively and quickly than men can do. The work of creation, however, is a work of God, and the work of making, forming consistent of organizing existing and materials of complex systems, whereas the creation that is speaking into existence something whose materials don't exist before except the mind and power of God. You use the word here in Genesis 1, verse 1, informs us that the point in that physical universe is spoken by existence of God, and no existent power of this primeval creative act of God. The act alone is infinite and eternal. It is also pointed to it is that was possible for him and to call universe into being. Although it is possible for us to comprehend fully concept the eternal transcendent God, the only alternative is to concept an eternally subject universe. This concept is also incomprehensible. Eternal God or eternal matter is the choice of the deniability of the present scientific law of cause and effect is valid. This sense of any matter cannot by themselves generate the complex to universe and to non-dimension the same persons of the fine intelligence of understanding of the complex order of the universe. A personal God is the only adequate cause to produce such effects. Well, yeah, God can create things pretty quickly. Well, yeah, it is true. So yes, it is true that God could create. Yeah, it is true that God could have created everything in just 1 second, but He chose to do it in 6 days, and then rest on the seventh day, which is 7,000 years ago. But another thing that God created is also languages. You can see I have the King James Bible in English and Spanish. Well, and also Chinese. If you want to talk about the original Chinese characters. Now, let's get into the next verse, and then I'll show you what creation and evolution are called in different languages. Just because I want to show you, and I want to show you that God created languages. God created languages when He scattered the people from the Tower of Babel. And it's because God wanted people to because God people want people from different countries of the world to speak different languages. And God had to do it Himself because people are stupid and they want to refuse to not make languages and just build a Tower of Babel that will just reach to heaven or something. Yeah, that's what the people did. It's God that stopped that and scattered the people and why by making new that scare the people and confound their languages. And that's how God created languages. Before that there was only one language. Before all this there was only one language. Before the Tower of Babel there was only one language, And now we're getting to the point where we're probably losing languages again. Well, we're probably not going to get to the point when you get to only one language. But there's people that want to have only one language left to communicate with other people better, but that's stupid, and that's not how God set it up at all. It used to be that way. God did set it up that way, but once this Tower of Babel came along, that's when God set up. I will soon, Mom. I guess you're not free to eat food then, so what do you help me now? Okay, Mom, I will help you. Just wait, please. Okay, it's too early for me to have dinner right now anyway, but let's go back to what I was saying. So yes, God created languages. Okay, God did. And there's some of you that they constructed other languages, And I'll get into that after I'm finished reading this, okay? Yeah. So let's go read this part, and then I'll show you what creation and evolution are called in other languages. And then I'll show you how to get saved, okay? Okay. So let's go read to this part, okay? So it's not science, it's evolution, science, and creation, religion. Well, the answer is no. Evolution is different from science, and you have to learn something here. Both evolution and creation are both religious, and you have to believe either one or the other. Okay, science is something we can things we know and we can observe. We don't observe evolution. We don't observe creation either. Okay? These are just different ways we can view historical science, but not observational science. I know atheists want to do is mix up historical science with observational science. But that's not how it works, okay? And why do they do that? Well, look at this. Here, see, it says I see evolution happening in my lab. It's a fact. But all you see is just these butterflies. That's not different breed of butterflies. That's not evolution. No, that's not evolution. Now amoeba turning into a human. Now that's evolution. That's what the boy was thinking. That's what evolution is. Not this. But because these are different. Those are just, well, here's why I know that this is not evolution, because those are just different variations of butterflies and stuff. Because the Bible teaches animals produce after their own kind. That's why. Now let's go read this article, and I'll show you why. What's wrong with why I believe that evolution is and creation are both religious. Well, let's find out. Anti-creationists, such as atheists, by definition, come to object that creation is religion and evolution is science. The defendants claim it will cite in this the criteria good evolution theory, good scientific theory, common criteriation, the bulk of modern day, progressing scientists, and accept a valid science. Another criterion, divine science's ability to theory of prediction to be tested. Evolutionists commonly claim that evolution makes many predictions what can be found to be correct. It was cited that something like the theostic resistance of bacteria was a predictive evolution, whereas the question is a creationist model making predictions that it says creation males and different science are for religion to creation that could be ignored. What is science? Many tenets of divine science is circular. What is the point of condemnatory science? It's acceptable definition defined. What scientists do, in fact, under this definition, scientists may exclude its theories, and scientists accept its search. In any case, the so-called definitions of science, self-serving and contradictory, by evolutionary protagonists, claim that the creation is non-scientific because it's completely untestable, but it's the same paragraph they would claim scientists of creation science and found ideas young earth, global flood, and testing of evidence of Earth's creation cannot be tested found to be false it's untestable. The definition of science is haunted by philosophers science in 20th century approach the Bacon, which is considered a founder of the scientific method, was straightforward. Observation, deduction of hypothesis, test of hypothesis by experiment, prove and disprove knowledge. Of course, this is the approach of the modern science, which is a possibility of induction. The philosopher Homer is clear to believe that blind faith, that words that Whitehead of was a problem. It is right, actually. These point instances of a faith of creator God of the Bible is stricken like Lord and stated is recognized. Both scientists also philosophically, logically ignored it and don't even realize the other mystical assumptions like the being a frog in the warming water. Many do not notice the philosophical assumptions that being real much as that science is part of the real worldview, and they do not even notice. Wait, it's up the front acceptance revelation, the Bible. Unlike many atheists, we have realized that the philosophy of the life does not come from the data, rather a philosophy interpreting it. Perceptions and bias. Okay. Okay, well, we'll get to that soon, because I know my mom wants me to help her cook. But I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back now. Okay, so now we can read this part now. But the perceptions and bias. The important question is not, is it science? One gets to find science and exclude everything that one doesn't like, as many evolutionists do today. Today, science is equated with naturalism, with only materialistic notions that are entertained, no matter what the evidence. The problem with evolutionists, Professor Richard Lewontin said, emphasis and original. We take the side of science in spite of patient absurdity and some its constructs by its failure to fulfill constructing purposes, health, and life, despite a tolerance in scientific community and such as those stories, because we have fear coming into materialism. It is not methods and institutions science should compel us accept the material explanation of the phenomenal world. But on the contrary, we are focused on primary inherence of material causes, create apprentice investigation and common sense to produce material explanations, no matter how counterintuitive, but no matter how mystifying to the uninhibited. Moreover, materialism is absolute. We do not allow divine foot in the door. Now that's open-minded, isn't it? Isn't it science about the following evidence? Wherever it may lead, it is. Whatever the religion is of broadest sense, the scientists put the blinkers on, individual worldviews, bias, or perceptions. The atheist paleontologist Stephen J. Gould made the following candid observation. Can ways of learning about the world are strongly influenced by the social conceptions and biased modes of thinking that each scientist must apply to any problem. The stereotype of fully rational and objective scientific method. The individual scientist is logical and intelligible of robots is self-serving mythology. So the fundamentally important question is which worldview's bias is correct. Because it is more likely determined that what conclusions instrument will draw on the data. Example, if including the origin of life, materialists tend to do everything possible, we will find the conclusion that life must be supernaturally created. Science is a creationism invention. Of course, there's a modern science where non-materialists, Sir Isaac Newton, why do they consider a great scientist that are prime example? You do not see the science worldview as a creator, as excluding a creator, or making a creator inverted. See, the biblical roots of modern science, a creation worldview, and particular understanding of scripture, and Adam's fall, incision of the rise of modern science. There is a notion of smuggled into science by materialists. Michael Ruse, the Canadian philosopher of science, was also made the strong point to that issue that is not whether evolution is science and creation is religion. Because such a distinction is not really valid, it is true that Kant instituted that see the originalist nature of evolution. In other words, there's no logical way to just define evolution as science and creation as religion, so that you can ignore the issue of creation, about distinction. However, we can draw a distinction to different types of science. Between origins science and operational science. Operational science involves discovering how things operate in today's world, repeatable and observable phenomena in the present. This is the science of Newton, Einstein, and Planck, for example. However, origins science deals with the origin of things in the past, unique, unrepeatable, unobservable events. This is why it could also be called historical science. This is a fundamental difference between how two things work. They're both called science, but one an operational science, applications, origins, or historical science. Operational science involves repeatable experimentation in here and now. Origins science deals how something into existence in the past, so it is not to be experimental verification observation. Unless someone invents a time machine to travel back into the past to observe. The problem is that if we travel back into the past, we will alternate the timeline. That's the problem here. Yeah, and do you think it's a good idea to alternate the timeline? That is, yeah, that's what would happen if we go back to the past. But anyway, nobody can go back to the past anyway, but it doesn't really matter anyway. So let's read this part. Operational science is quite different than the origins of historical science. You can't do experiments on the past. Limitations of the data, strong division by the worldview of the investigator. Of course, suits of any material is to confuse operational and origin science, although I'm sure with most of the confusion arises out of ignorance. Dietary, college, university courses in science mostly don't teach the philosophy of science, rarely make any distinction between experimental, operational, and historical origin sciences. Both evolution and creation fall into the category of origins science. Both are driven by the philosophical considerations. The same data observations in the present are available to everyone, but in different imitations, stories, devised, and explain what happened in the past. No distinction between observational science and evolution is not the invention of creationists. High-profile evolutionists such as Ernest Mayr and E.O. Wilson acknowledge the distinction. Includes historical science, and without distinction as science, the undoubtedly and continuity of modern confusion over defining science. This also explains the statement of God above, who was a paleontologist who liked to have no distinction between his own historical science and experimental science. Okay, God rightly saw the paramount importance and presumptions of his own science, assumed that it applied equally to all science. It is not so. Although representations play an important role, observational science, historical science depends much more strongly on philosophical assumptions. Now, do you believe in hot water? Well, first of all, hot water does exist. And there's a lot of, well, I drink coffee, which is hot brown water. I don't drink hot water itself. Yeah, the only people I would drink hot water itself that I know I heard is it's Chinese people. But anyway, because that's what I heard from from YouTube. But Anyway, I could be wrong about that because I don't know everything about that. But let's go read this paragraph now. So creationists have no problem with operational science because evidence drives operational science. It does not matter if you're a Christian or Muslim or Hindu or an atheist. Pure water still boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. Or you can also call it or if you want to, or you can say 212 degrees Fahrenheit, because I use the word Fahrenheit. I don't use the word Celsius. I just use the word Fahrenheit. So because I live in the United States of America, but let's keep reading. However, the true Hindu might still think that it is all an illusion, and some atheists embracing postmodernism espouse that truth is illusion. However, Origen's science is driven by philosophy. One's belief, this is fundamental, and one's stories accept as plausible. Now, the majority of predictions of Origen's historical science have a wrong belief. Materialism is the stories of finding acceptable also will be wrong. So the majority of contemporary science is hardly a good way to determine the validity of the receptive stories. In Origen's science or historical science is usually in exercise storytelling. Lewontin alluded to the storytelling. And I quote above: James Conant, past president of Harvard University, made the point of forcibly the scaling assessment of the number of scenarios and not often characterize historical science. See also naturalism. Okay, the evidence matters. Now pointing out the assumptions drive what stories are acceptable in historical science. I'm not saying that it is merely solely a matter of these philosophical religions of assumptions. The stories will have amounting evidence in greater manner, but that is, the stories provided can often be tested according to the evidence. The acceptable they claim that according bearing geological data laid down over many millions of years, contradicted by the evidence of polystrate tree fossils. The roots broken off traversing those strata, but how did they stand there for millions of years while the layers were deposits put up around them, and all without rotting away? There are many facts contradict the evolutionary story. Here 101 evidence and to speak against the billions of years of age claimed for the Earth, age of the Earth. There is also many counts against the story of biological evolution. See 15 questions for evolutionists. The same data could be consistently interpreted in two entirely different ways. Then Romans 1 would have no basis of saying that people that have no excuse for denying that things were created by God. It is clear from the philosophical evidence. Who can speak only of the truth as a test, but the truthful account of history? They give a coherent, logically consistent account of evidence, define terms consistently. It is also deterrent to shift the definition of evolution, suit an argument. Now, let's be clear that we're discussing the general theory of evolution, GTE, which is defined by the evolutionist Kirkut as a theory leading in forms where the horizon of single source itself, bringing a form perhaps a variety of forms into definitions of alluding to mutations and bacteria as corroborating evolution. This has nothing to do with demonstrating the validity of the belief hydrogen changed into humans over billions of years. The key difference is that GTE requires not just change, but change that statistically increases the information content of the biosphere. See all the discussions of definitions. Well, they of course they do with hydrogen that because they believe that because I know atheists believe we're all stardust, but that's not what the Bible teaches. So, and I know I don't care what they believe anyway. If they want to believe they came from stars, well, I know that they can believe that, but that's not what the Bible teaches. We came from God. That's what the Bible teaches. Predictions and postdictions. Most evolutionists claim mutations and antibiotic resistance and bacterial observational science could be some sort of prediction of evolution, origin science. In fact, genetics, operational science was embarrassment to evolution, which could have been a factor in those pioneering genetics research organized for so many years. The discovery of disco genes did not fit Darwin's idea of continuous unlimited variation. When mutations were discovered, those were seen as a way of reconciling Darwinism with the observation of operational science. Hence the neo-Darwinian synthesis of Mayer, Hendane, Fisher, etc. What about the predictions of evolution versus creation? The track record of evolution is mystical. Okay, well, I'll be right back, guys. My mom wants me. What now? She's calling me. Okay. Okay, see how evolution harms science. On the other hand, modern science rise on achievements of both experiences. See how important to science is evolution. Condition of creation scientists are for one, clear. Example of modern day predictions of creation's model. See beyond Neptune Voyager 2 supports creation. Main predictions evolutionary theory have been found in capable observations just evolution reigns, except the profound absence of many millions of traditional fossils that should exist evolution were true. Are there many traditional fossils? And many pattern of fossil record that contradicts evolutionary notions. And that was true like the sea, for example. The links are missing. The evolutionist God wrote wrote the length of his conundrum. Contrary to evolutionist expectations, none of the cases of antibiotic resistance, antibiotic resistance, etc., that could have been studied at a biochemical level. Operational science involved de novo origin of new complex genetic information. In fact, evolutionists never predicted antibiotic resistance because historically it would make you feel by surprise. See, antibiotics of antibiotics is evolution relevant. Contrary to evolutionist expectations, breeding experiments changes none of them to see the article by the creationist geneticists answered as mentions I would expect from Genesis chapter 1. Okay, yeah, it's showing the ESV on creation.com, but yeah, you have to read it in the King James Bible, so we can read it in the King James Bible here, so. Where it says that God created the origins reduced to their different kinds. Another field evolutionary prediction is that of junk DNA. Evolutionists long claim that 98% of the human DNA is junk, or mere leftovers supposed evolutionary ancestry. Not because they want to believe that these things are vestigial, but they're not. But let's keep reading. This has hindered many discovery of functions of DNA. You want to be at least 8% functional, and maybe 100% as functional. See, dazzling DNA. Yeah, I know, they want to believe that these kinds of DNA are probably vestigial, but they aren't anyway. Evolutionists explain the given conditions a living cell could make itself, abiogenesis. I know that's what they believe. Yeah, this part is what they call abiogenesis, but they also call it autogenesis as well. But let's keep reading. Creationist says it was impossible. Operational science has destroyed this evolutionary notion so much. Many evolutionists now have to leave the origin of life out of the debate. Many propagandalists claim that evolution does not include this, although the theories of abiogenesis are usually called chemical evolution, but normally included within the graduate courses on evolution, the origin of life, extinction of any profound problems, the conceivable evolutionary scenario. Okay, note. The claim fulfilled predictions of proof that remnants is known as a fallacy, affirming that, however, predictions is falsified that amounts of formal disproof of positions of evolution can be formally disproved by multiple failed predictions, falsified but not abandoned. So why the evolutionist predictions of the supposed theory? For many, because they have never heard of anything else. For I found materialists the only game in town, the only mystic story available to explain how everything came to be. Materialist is creation myth, and it's a bit like provincial ostrich pudding. It says scientific evaluations of things understand. The ostrich's worldview and excludes everything. It does not include rubber and darkness the sand. It's all sort of cease to exist. The prediction evolutionary thinking is to face contrary evidence indicates that the classical position of materialism, atheism, trumps the facts, but the paradigm has really no matter what the evidence because the secularists were not allowed to find foot at the door. For so many of the failed arguments of evolution, arguments evolutionists should not use. Okay, so light in the darkness. Jesus Christ came as the light of the world in John 8, verse 12. But when the second person of the Trinity took on human nature, you see the incarnation. Why did God become man? He came in the shadow of the light of God in dark places. The greatest darkness is to live without God. As if the cosmic accident and it's arranged upon scum as when evolutionists put it. Sadly, many are being duped into thinking the way we are hindrance consequences like saying suicide, drug problems, family breakup, violence, etc. But how much we need the light of Jesus to shine. God will hold each one of us accountable. All of us that deserve His condemnation, but the Bible says that He provided a way to escape through Jesus Christ. For all that turn God, humbly admitting our need to forgiveness. See, here's the good news. For more information about the above issues, or more to check out the Q&A section. We're used as such window to search for articles on objects of interest. Okay, so yeah, well, you have to learn some here. So both creation and evolution are both religious. You have to believe only one or the other. Okay? That's the answer. It's not that matter which one's science and which one isn't. Now, we need to find out. So if we want to find out, so you want to know what creation and evolution are called in different languages. Well, I ain't got them right here. Before we go. So let's do that, okay? I'll start with creation, and I'll do evolution after. Okay? Yeah, and now if you want to learn more about evolution, I do have a video called "What Is About." I'll say about evolution. You can go ahead and watch that if you want to. Yeah. Well, you can go back and watch that. You can go ahead and watch that maybe after you finish with watching this video because that's when I'll start talking about the 6 meanings of evolution because it has 6 meanings. Okay? You got cosmic evolution, chemical evolution, stellar evolution. Okay, and then you got organic evolution, and then macro evolution. Okay, and then macro evolution, and then micro evolution. And that's what I start talking about in that video. You can go back and watch that if you want. After you finish watching this video, if you want to, anyway. But today we're going to learn what creation and evolution are called in different languages. And I'll start with Spanish. And I'll start with the word creation, okay? And then I'll do the word evolution after. And I'll start with Spanish, okay?
Creación.
So creation in Spanish is creación. In Italian, and I do know, and I heard that Italian is similar to Spanish because I know both Spanish and Italian have the rolling R's, which I'll talk about in a different video. But here it is.
Creazione.
Creazione, that's creation in Italian, and now French. Yeah, I only want to learn French. I'm just showing you what French is, and that if you want to learn it, that's if you want to learn French, if you want to learn French, you can so that if you want to learn French, I can show you what stuff are in French. I just don't want to learn it myself. Yeah.
Création.
Création, okay. Création, okay. So I was saying a creation in French. Now this language. Well, there's some people that tell me that I should learn this language. Yeah, Portuguese. But ask me is why, but asking me is why I don't want to learn French and why I don't want to learn Portuguese. Well, first of all, I think French, it's probably not as much used in California. Well, same with Portuguese. As well. It's not that much used here in California. I think that's the reason why I don't want to learn it. That's probably why I don't want. That's probably the reason why I don't want to learn French or Portuguese either. So, but if you want to know what creation is in Portuguese, I can show you. Because I got Google Translate anyway.
Criação.
Criação. So I'll say creation in Portuguese. Okay, now we can get into this language. Yeah, this is the only African language I'm going to use. So, yeah, Swahili. Huh? Hmm. Okay, Obaji. As I'll say, creation in Swahili. Okay. Now, let's do, Turkish next.
Yaratılış.
Okay.
Yaratılış.
Okay, Yotalis. As I'll say, creation in Turkish. Yeah. Now, what about Greek? Now, I'll do it in Greek next because here it is.
Δημιουργία.
Dumaria. As I'll say, creation in Greek. So, now we can do the next one. Mandarin. Now, you can see in Mandarin, I have it in both simplified and traditional Chinese characters. So now you can see the difference between the two. Because if you don't like the simplified characters, I do put the traditional characters on there for you, okay? If you want, but I just put both of them there so you can see the difference between. So you can see both, okay? Both simplified and traditional Chinese characters. Okay? And Mandarin is one of the languages, and plus Mandarin is one of the languages I do want to learn anyway. I know because, well, first of all, and ask me is why do I learn Mandarin? Because I want to learn. You know what? Yeah. Well, I do want to learn a language from one of the enemies of my home country. From one of the enemies of my home country, and that's why. And I'm talking about. And I'm talking about the one that's big is my home country, United States of America, in landmass, which is China. Yeah, Because I know my home country is the United States of America, but I'm talking about the one that's big as that in landmass, which is China. Which is what Mandarin is from. Yeah, so.
创建
Okay, so Zhuangjian is I'll say creation in Mandarin. Hmm.
创建
Okay, so Zhuangjian is I'll say creation in Mandarin. Now let's go and now I'm gonna do now I can do Arabic next. Okay, Koka, so I'll say creation in Arabic. Now okay, so I'll say creation in Japanese. Now now we can do Korean next.
창조,
So it's okay, Changshou, so I'll say creation in Korean. Now now we can do this one. I'm not gonna do all languages. So this last one. So this one's called yeah. So this Indian language called Hindi.
निर्माण
So Nirman is I'll say creation in Hindi. Now we can do the word evolution next. Now we can do the word evolution. Now, evolution in Spanish is
evolución
evolución.
evoluzione,
Okay, in Italian is evoluzioni. Now, and French
évolution
evolution. Okay. Now, next one is Portuguese. And again, I'm telling you, I don't want to learn this language, but I'm just showing it to you right now because, I tell you, I don't want to learn Portuguese, but since you want me to show it to you, well, I'm going to show the word to you so that if you want to learn Portuguese, then this one is for you. Just not for me because I don't want to learn it. I don't want to learn it myself.
evolução
Evolução is how to say evolution in Portuguese. Okay. Now Swahili.
mageuzi,
Magaruzi is how to say evolution in Swahili. Now Turkish next.
evrim
Okay, so
Evrim.
Ephraim. So I'll say evolution in Turkish. Now here it is in Greek.
Exelixi.
Okay, exelixi. That's how to say evolution in Greek. Now we can get into what evolution is called in Mandarin. So Qinhua, okay, it's how to say evolution in Mandarin. And you can see I have it in both simplified and traditional Chinese characters. Okay. Okay, total war is I'll say evolution in Arabic. Now Japanese.
Shinka.
So Shinka is I'll say evolution in Japanese.
Qinhua.
Okay, Jinhua is I'll say evolution in Korean. Now the last one. Yep, which is Hindi.
Vikas.
Okay, so because is I'll say evolution in Hindi. Okay, so now so that's it. So that's it. I'm not going to show you all. I'm not going to show you all the languages that Google Translate has, because that would be too many. And I'm just showing you what I found on Google Translate, because Google Translate. Because that's just by words I found on Google Translate. But I want to see how different God made these languages. And I know, and plus I speak English because I live in the United States of America. You know. That's why. Yeah, I got the United States flag over here. The other side is a California flag. It says California Republic because I live in California. But why should I give evolution? Or, well, I will give evolution the Chinese flag because it's false and it needs to go away because it sends people to hell. Creation, I'll give it the blue Chinese flag because blue is the opposite of red, and blue I think is what means about well, it's opposite of red. So I guess blue can mean you know I guess the sky, and I guess blue is for the sky and stuff, and I guess, well, heaven can be, well, the ground heaven is green, but you can see the sky of the third heaven is blue. So, well, you can see that blue is basically like the opposite of red, and that's what blue. Yeah, that's what I mean by blue. Anyway, if you want to see a picture of the California flag, because just because I live in California, well, I'll show it to you. I think it's right here. Yeah, there it is, right here. There it is. Yeah, California Republic. So that's the California. So here's the California flag, and that's what I see below the United States flag, because I live in California. Anyway, now I want to show you something that's new as well. So you remember this, my California hat, right? Well, here's my other United States flag hat. Just see, it has all the stars right there. And now I also got this one, a gray United States flag hat. Yeah. So right here it says creation, and God saw that it was good. As you see, I believe what the Bible says. Okay, and I try to do what I can to believe the Bible. You know, defending the Bible is my I'm trying to do anyway. And I hope there's I hope more Christians could defend the Bible as well. I'm trying to teach, creation. But yeah, it is true. Now I know people trying to tell me that we need to get people saved first before I can teach them creation, and that is true. We need to get them saved first before I can teach about creation and stuff. Yeah, I know. Now anyway, since I'm done showing you about so hope this video shows you that why I believe that the Bible is true and not evolution. Okay, evolution is false and it sends people to hell. Okay, Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven. So the point of evolution is to damn souls to hell. The only way to go to heaven is to believe on Lord Jesus Christ. Salvation is by faith alone and grace on Jesus Christ alone. And once you're saved, by easy believism, that's the truth. Okay, if you want to know, easy believe is, once you're always saved, you can't lose your salvation. Once it's saved, you're saved forever. And what I mean by easy believism is that salvation is easy. All you do is just believe in Jesus Christ for salvation. So, so I hope this video shows you that I believe the Bible's creation story and not evolution's creation story. Because evolution's creation story is dumb and it can't happen and it needs to go away. Okay? We don't need abiogenesis or autogenesis. We only need just Genesis. And that's it. And I'll talk about the future, consummation, some other time. But I'll talk about next video is called What Does These and Thous mean? Well, I'll talk about that next video. Because I want to show you, because I want to show you why do I believe that because I want to show you why that these and thous do need to be in the Bible. Well, I'll talk about that, and I'll talk about that next video. Because, I have to go right now. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later. Bye.